Super Bowl with horns on it. Welcome to Men in Red Tights. Final episode. Both of you listeners are getting to hear this. It's
Me and a little
show. Yeah, that's about it. We're down to 2. I think the one guy got tired of waiting for our episodes to hit, but you know what? It could be worse. He could have been waiting for the summer series.
Which never happened.
Never happened. I blame a Lil.
Yeah, it probably is my fault.
Yep. I'll go with that. So this is it. Final episode. Episode 13 of season 1, just called Daredevil. What'd you guys think? Oh, before we do that, I want to tell you guys something I was thinking about. I want to make a change. Are you guys there, or did everyone go silent?
No,
we're here.
You're waiting with bated breath, Jack.
I had fish for dinner.
Okay, going into the new season of Nuff Said, I want to change it a little bit. Because what we've done the last 2 years is we watch the episode, we talk about the episode, we get to the end, and a bunch of other crap happens in the middle. I think we should not... It's just a change of mindset. Maybe we go into it knowing that we're going to talk about news for a segment, and then we talk about the episode, but that way, if we have a week where there's no episode or we want to talk about Agent Carter, it's just kind of Marvel news in general. We're no longer the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We'll just be the Marvel podcast. You guys like that idea?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I don't know. I was looking at it this week and I was like, I don't want to do when it comes time for the next Netflix show. I think it'd be more fun if we just kind of binged it and talked about it on our regular show, and we didn't have to do an episode by episode thing.
Well, and I think I think that was the thing that we were doing kind of with this and Patreon. We
were doing it for Patreon.
For Patreon, but I think the Nuff Said umbrella is wide enough that it's Nuff Said.
It can cover me. I get it. It's wide enough. It can cover me. So yes.
Hey-o. Oh, we're down to 1 patron. Eric hung in there with us. Eric, you rock. Eric is the one that wrote back to us too. So Eric, thank you so much. In fact, I think you win. I think at some point you need to write to us on our email, southgatemediagroup@gmail.com, and maybe we'll have you on a roundtable or something. Because you hung in there to the bitter end.
That's right.
And Lil will be happy to come over to your house and massage you.
I'd like to talk to all our fan out there.
Yeah, we're done with this Patreon thing though. I'm not digging on it. So this will be it. This will be the last one. When we're done, we take it down, and that is all she wrote. So, all right.
We should talk about the actual program.
Let's talk about it. So, what did you guys think?
I enjoyed it.
This final episode, we're starting there, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Hopefully.
Well, I didn't know if you were going like the whole series was awesome. I mean, final episode, you were down with this one.
I was down with it. There were a couple things I would have liked to see a little different. I would have liked to, seen a little more. I don't know, maybe some. I don't know. It there were some elements of it that kind of I thought could have come out more, but it really kind of brought out the real battle. Fisk is kind of out in the open now as a bad guy.
Oh yeah. Well, he turned into the Kingpin at the very end.
Right. And I mean, where did he get this unstoppable SWAT team army from? I mean, that was really cool.
He had that. I mean, he had that all set up. So that's what he told Vanessa.
Right.
Go here, make this phone call. This is how it happens. We just didn't see what he said.
Right.
Right. And I did not. I talked about this, and I don't know if I marked my words, but Leland, I think he had to go. Yeah,
that was a shocking one. Oh, were you shocked by that? Because he's a big character.
I mean, he is a big character, but I mean, they already took down a bunch of big characters, so I wasn't at this point.
it was really part of his personality that, he had to kill, pretty much a guy out in the open in the press, because he talked to his mom. You knew whoever was the one that fessed up about poisoning Vanessa was going to have to die.
Yeah, have to die.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It really, really surprised me that Leland even told him. I mean, if Leland was smart, he would have said, oh, yeah,
Yeah, but Leland got cocky there.
He did.
And he thought he had him. He thought he had the one up on him. And see, he's an important character, though. But did you catch that he dropped the thing about his son? My son and I are this. And I'm like, wait a minute. The son is the one that's going to be the owl.
He's got to be.
He's got to be.
And they have to do the owl, right? Or are they just throwing that in there and we're just going to go like, okay, that was it?
I don't know if that's the direction season 2 is going to go in, but I think it's going to come up eventually. Because I think season 2 might already be too much with Punisher and Elektra. That if they start throwing in everything else and bringing, because I don't even know if the Kingpin's coming back in season 2.
Right.
I
would imagine he is.
Maybe toward the end?
Yeah, but we just don't know for sure.
Right.
Well, I mean, he's just spent the whole episode escaping. I think he's got to be in there. He's got to be in there somewhere. He's going to go into hiding, but he's got enough firepower that when he wants to come back and do what he wants to do, I think it's going to happen. I think it might be, you might get a setup of the owl. I definitely think that the other thing that they set up in this episode was, of course, we're zooming all the way to the end, but with, was it Karen?
Yeah.
She, he can hear something in her voice and he thought, oh, when we got this all resolved, but, it's really eating her up inside that she killed Wesley. And, we talked about, the original Daredevil where, she kind of goes to the other side. She gets a drinking and a drug problem.
Yeah, well, I think that was all being hinted at here. I think that it was a couple of weeks ago. And I think that this was more of it. I mean, she made some strange looks in this one that told me, yeah, it's definitely going this way.
Yeah, I don't think you set up all that. I think that's going to be a major part of that. I think the team, which I think it's almost a little, you got to set up for it though. But the team just started working together. Where Foggy is going to be an element. Karen is going to be at the desk looking at the paperwork and the numbers.
Right,
and they're going to be covering it from all sides. And I wonder if it's not a little too early because, she has to have time to, be part of the team, but implode and whatever they're going to do with her character.
Well, it might be, once again, it might be a slow burn before we see this actually happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw it with, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Saw what? Which one?
What's his name?
Ward?
Ward.
Yeah, the way that. Yeah.
I mean, he was Hydra the entire time, and we really didn't find out, until much later.
Sure.
Kind of that inner turmoil. So it was almost an imperceptible burn. And yeah, I think I think they set that up here. I think they set up a lot of interesting stuff. I thought they really did a good job. I don't know. I kind of wanted some more explosions or some fight scenes or something. It didn't seem like a whole lot of Daredevil, although we did get the costume.
Heck yeah, we got the costume. So, Alil, you didn't say what you thought.
No, I love this episode. I love the fight scene between him and Fisk.
Oh my gosh. That was amazing.
Really, really good. Really well done. Better than Affleck and Michael Clark Duncan. But it was.
I think you and I fighting would be better than Affleck and Michael Clark Duncan.
I don't know. We'd be out of breath in about 30 seconds.
Already out of breath just from saying it.
No, it was a great episode. It was, you know what though? It wasn't the best episode of the series. I don't think though.
No, I agree.
But it did take the slow burn. I think the last 3 or 4 episodes, because I mean there were things that we talked about it. I think that's why we went off the rails a lot. Is the last 3-4 episodes had like a big thing happen, and then it was kind of a lot of fluff around it, which to me kind of felt that they were stretching a little bit. I mean, this is 13 hours,
right?
And sometimes it is for the sake of development. It is for the sake of us to get to know these characters for stuff that we don't know that might be happening in a season or 2 even. You know,
right.
Little Easter eggs that they're setting up that we're looking at right now. I'm like, I don't know why that's happening.
That's one thing I'll say about this. I think this was loaded with Easter eggs. I think this was what Marvel is really doing, just like they did with their movies when they started, laying the groundwork for the Avengers so early. Now you go back and you watch it and you're like, oh my gosh, they were telling us this is what we're doing. And I think the same was true here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we kind of knowing what we're looking for, and it makes it, maybe a little more obvious, but it will be interesting to see, later on is like, what are exactly the Easter eggs? Did we catch them all?
Right.
I think that's a valid point.
Well, even if they didn't, there was a lot of fan service here. They were definitely putting things in here for the people that are the fans that go, you know what, I do know the Daredevil mythos, and once again, just the thing with Karen, and like how she made they made the reference to her drinking and potentially something a little harder, and like that alone is like those are the Easter eggs that you do want as a fan,
right?
Agreed. Yeah, but so I loved it. I thought it was a great way to end the season. Sometimes you don't get really good season enders, and then it left with a bit of a cliffhanger because Fisk is in jail, but he's looking at that wall again, just like he did at home.
Yeah, the rabbit in the snowstorm. I loved that,
and I was just like, yeah, this is why I think I don't know if he's coming back in season 2, or if in season 2, what we're gonna get is we're gonna get a couple of episodes of just Fisk in prison and having nothing to do, just having him be a bigger threat inside of prison
in the prison. Yeah, right. That's
like,
what
there won't be anything going on the out for him on the outside, and he might not even get out.
Right,
yet. It might be the season 3 or the cliffhanger for season 2.
Now, do you think we're going to end up seeing him pop up in one of these movies that's coming up?
I don't know.
I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors about him being in which one? Which one?
Guardians of the Galaxy?
It's not Cap 2, and maybe it is Cap 2.
Yes, he's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's in Guardians. That'd be perfect.
No, I don't think he'll be in Civil War. I think that's kind of. I think his character is not there yet, where the Kingpin in Civil War had a reason to be around.
Right.
I don't think he's there yet as that Kingpin established. And I think that's why it'd be good, because season 2 of Daredevil is going to come out after Civil War comes out. So it's just not going to. I don't think it'll make much sense. I would love to actually see Kingpin in the Spider-Man movies, because I've always liked Kingpin as a Spider-Man villain.
Right.
And I like the dynamic.
Yeah, you know what?
And if you look at the Ultimate Spider-Man comics with the Kingpin, I mean, there was that one, I think it's 16, 18 issues, right around there, in the early teens, in that, where the Kingpin just beats the daylights out of Spider-Man and just teaches him, basically a lesson.
Yeah.
And even in the cartoons, I think there was a good cartoon. The 90s cartoon was always great with him in it. And I just like the idea of just Spider-Man fighting that kind of criminal.
Yeah, I do too.
You know?
Well, that was what was so great, like in the '80s when we had those Spider-Man and Daredevil crossovers, and it was just perfect, man. And Kingpin was a great villain for that. So yeah, I'm totally down with that idea, and that actually might be what I had heard. The rumor on was that it was Spider-Man.
Yeah, that would be.
I don't know if they would do it for the first one back.
Yeah,
The first one.
No, not as the villain in the first one. That he shows up in that first one.
Oh,
He'd have a cameo of some sort so that we know what threat is out there.
That
I
would
like
be
that
interesting.
idea.
that would be interesting. I think that might be cool. That might be cool as an Easter egg to throw in there that they're able to do that, and it's a Sony property,
Right.
and a Sony movie, but they're gonna allow this to happen, allow these Easter eggs to be extended out.
Man,
I like that idea.
and I'm sure Vincent D'Onofrio would not mind breaking into the Marvel movies that way.
No, and now he's buddy with Robert Downey Jr., and if Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in that movie, it'll be perfect.
Right. Yeah, man.
So talking about the
Wait
fight.
a minute. Why don't they get rid of Feige now and have us do that? Because we got the ideas. We could be the new brain trust without him.
Mark my words.
Yeah, mark my words. It's not going to happen.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. No.
It could be our byline. The mark my words trio brings down
Yeah.
Marvel in one
Marvel's
fell
over.
swoop.
Did you guys hear Charlie on Super Connectivity this week? I don't think I posted it yet. The whole thing is him going, well, the MCU is over. It's like he's just completely like, you'll get 2 more and then it's all garbage.
Why?
Because of what happened this week. And it's cracking me up, and I'm like, no, it's really not. Now, if they did put us in charge, I think he could legitimately say that.
It would be all over. Yeah,
It is all over.
Why? Because Spider-Man would be in every movie if it was up to me, and
Right.
you would, for some odd reason, Lucy Lawless is the main character in Avengers: Infinity War.
No, she's.
And then
I
here comes
only
Jack,
don't believe that character is dead. That's
and
the
Halle
only
Berry
thing.
comes in all of a sudden out of nowhere. And
Yeah, it's you guys
What
think.
do you
that
mean
it's-
out of nowhere? She's a superstar.
Right. You think it's an infatuation with Lucy Lawless. It is not. It is.
No,
I
no,
do
you
not
just want to
believe.
prove yourself right. That's
But
why.
I do not believe that character is dead. See?
All
Oh,
right.
say I believe she's dead. She may not be gone, but she is dead.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
Mark my words.
I'm not saying that she's not going to be in like some flashbacks or maybe like a prequel. You know, they may say, "Hey, we kind of like this thing," and then all of a sudden we see her like as
Well,
a
she
teenager
was in a
in Agent
flashback
Carter.
already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
She might. Yeah, it's going to be little teasers just for Rob. Mark my words.
Just so he can come on a podcast and mark his words
right.
and then prove himself right.
That would be the dumbest move ever by Marvel. We're going to make this guy right. Screw everybody else.
Oh, that would be awesome. So, but speaking of Kingpin and the fight,
Yes.
when all of a sudden it started to go south for Matt, and you think, oh man, he's just gonna Kingpin's just gonna whip his butt again.
Could you
And-
believe the way he fought? Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, Kingpin was
He was
like,
Kingpin. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what we didn't get in that Daredevil movie. We never saw him be Kingpin.
right, and this time we did. But man, when he lifted Matt and did a face plant with him into the concrete, I thought, man, this is over.
He threw him
He's
into
done.
the ceiling and then threw him into the floor. I'm like, what?
Right.
Yeah,
It's like, who thinks to do that? I don't.
Kingpin.
Ah,
You know
you
Kingpin?
do. Admit it. You do.
No.
But I think
somebody
that's
into the ceiling.
that is a testament to the suit. For a long time, he's been absorbing all these body blows, but I think the suit is kind of going to afford him a little bit of protection now. Because I don't think he would have won the fight as it was without having the suit. When he started wailing on his arms with his own pipe, with
Yeah.
Daredevil's own weapon, I thought, man, if it wasn't for those black parts are just about impenetrable, and on his arms, and you even see the sparks as he's just wailing on his arms. It's like, man, he would have broken both of Matt's arms at that point. I think it's the rise of the suit. Maybe season 2 will be just about the suit.
I hope not. That would be the worst. No, it's going to be about Punisher.
This season brought to you by Men's Warehouse.
I think it'll be a lot of Punisher. I think there's a good shot because we've seen unexpected deaths here. I guess that's Rob, what did you think of this episode before I start going into what I think is going to happen in season 2?
I loved it. I mean, was it a perfect episode? It's hard to say. I mean, we've gone 13 episodes. But did I get the payoff? Yeah. I got unexpected stuff. Owlsley dying was unexpected to me. Seeing Kingpin be Kingpin, the way he had that rage, and the fact that like they pulled a taser on him and he still fought back, I'm like, this is Kingpin. This is the character.
Oh, yeah.
So there was just a lot that I just really, really liked. I thought the fight scene between Daredevil and Fisk was just great, and I'll tell you another moment I liked that you didn't see anything was when they went to the safe house and the guy closed his eyes. He had the blood splattered on his face. And then you hear gunshots and fists going and they never show the fight. But when he opens his eyes, everybody's either dead or down from Daredevil. That was fantastic.
Now, did Daredevil actually have his first kill? Like official kill, because when he threw whatever that pole was into the driver's chest, and that wasn't like I'm just stopping you. He actually killed that guy. Did anybody? I mean,
too. Did you guys think that? I mean, he killed somebody.
I don't think he killed him. I think they really avoided it. I have to go watch that scene again, but I really think they did a point to avoid it. I don't know if it went straight through his chest.
I sure look like it did.
I'd have to. It's been a while since I watched the episode, but it just seemed like the entire time they spent really avoiding Matt making that kill. And I think if they did that here, nonchalantly, I think that would be very. I don't know. It wouldn't be right. And I didn't take it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I sure did. I thought, man, they just slipped that one in. Even, as they're closing the eyes and you hear the shots and the hits, you kind of took for granted still that Matt didn't kill anybody. Like if they shot anybody, they kind of, shot their own people by accident. But, I don't know. It sure looked like Daredevil threw that.
I remember when it happened, it struck me as strange, but I was so taken with everything else that I forgot.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're bringing that up, it's like, yeah, you know what, you might be right, because it did look like it killed that guy, and we never saw anyone come out of that truck.
No, and when that goes through the window and his head like goes off, it went off to the right, or was it to the left? It's a boom. Anyway, his head like totally drops off. He didn't knock the guy out. That I'm pretty sure that pole went right through him. That's how you stop a driver from a truck.
So do you guys? Man, I can't even remember. We haven't seen him kill, so it wouldn't make sense that he killed because he's not a killer.
It didn't, but it sure looked like that guy.
It looked like it, but I think that might have just been. It might have been in a show that hasn't been sloppy. It might have been sloppy. Because I think that they needed to go back and tell us. That's why I think
I have to go back and watch that scene again, because I don't think they would be that sloppy. I mean, they've done a lot here, a lot of good. And like I said, they've gone out of their way to, it's not like Arrow season 1 where Arrow is just murdering everyone and he is fine with it. I mean, they've gone out of their way to show that Matt would do anything to avoid killing someone.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is that skilled, I think whatever he did, he didn't impale a person.
Well, all I'm saying is I predicted the Owsley's death. So I'm just saying I think I'm right on this
You're
one.
just saying.
Oh man, mark his words.
Mark my words, that
Mark
guy is
them.
dead. You know, maybe it was just an accident. Maybe he didn't mean for him to die, but he turned into it. He could. The driver caused his own death
Okay.
by leaning into the. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I think it is worth going back and really looking because it would be rather sloppy to spend, the entire 13 episodes not killing somebody and end it like that. But I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does definitely leave a question, but I don't know. That's one of those things that very easily next season when it starts up, we could get a little retcon just to show us like, no, he didn't kill him.
Right.
They just go out of their way to show you that. It's just that scene goes back,
Yeah, right.
and,
Well,
and he
it
just
could-
goes
it could-
and checks on him after he leaves.
It could
I know
start,
Feige trolls our podcast, just to make sure, and probably they will adjust, just to prove us wrong. That they'll have a little scene where we see the driver in like the first episode of the season 2.
There you go.
Because
They're bringing
Marvel,
him back.
all of Marvel hinges on our mark my words.
say it. Mark my words.
Mark my words.
Oh,
That really grinds my gears.
There you go.
that's too funny.
So, all right. So there, you got my thing. You said I can't go on until I get what you say, Rob. I told you what I say. What do you got now?
So, I mean, I'm thinking about season 2, and I'm thinking about what we've learned from this season. And this season, we've seen a lot of big characters in the MCU, in the Marvel universe, the comic universe, die.
Yes.
And I think that with Karen's, we've talked a lot about Karen this episode, and it keeps. I keep thinking about it more and more that I think she's going to die in the next season.
Well, what
If
happened?
think
she
she's gonna
dies in the storyline of was it Born Again? I believe
Right.
That's And I think that it just seems like they're taking pieces of that era of this show, of that era of the comics for this show. And I don't know. I'm thinking about like, a person working with the hero that has committed murder, even though we all agree it was self-defense. But
He was going to kill her whole, every last friend and family member.
yeah, so I'm not holding it against her, but how she was acting and the fact that Matt picked that up and how she is going to react and the character flaws that we know. I mean, wouldn't it be crazy if they did go with that Born Again and season ends with her dying, but her finding out about Matt and selling that secret?
Sure.
Yeah. And
Well,
who does she
and you know
sell
what?
it-
I do think that we are going to get that. I do think we are going to get that storyline with her. I just don't know if it's going to be by next season. Although, you know what? It kind of makes sense if we've got the Punisher storyline to have it go that way, to have her find out who Matt is. Maybe we have, 5 or 6 episodes of them dating because that's how it ended with them holding hands a little bit. And you go, okay, there's going to be this blossoming relationship. But if you read Daredevil Yellow, she is already like out of the picture by that point. So-
it makes sense. Why would you set that up in the season finale if you weren't going to do something really the seeds of that in the second episode?
Well,
I mean,
I'm
the
sure
second
that
season.
I definitely think that they were planting the seeds for the relationship, but I think that the way this show moves and everything, it would make a lot of sense to have next season we see the relationship and then we see her betray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Mark
think
your
that
words.
would be interesting, and it's through that betrayal and everything. Maybe she's involved in something that draws the attention of the Punisher.
Yeah. Well, who? And it
Maybe
seems like
her drug dealer is the one that's involved in getting his family killed.
yeah.
And that's why they collide. And because he kills with impunity, Daredevil then views him as a bad guy, and we're going to have the clash of these two guys until they have to come back together, and maybe that's when Kingpin arises at the end of the season.
Or we get Bullseye.
You think?
Toward the end, maybe. They like to keep their secrets, and they've given us a lot of dirt here.
Yeah.
So a lot of this dirt, I think, is really to distract us to, everybody's, Daredevil, Punisher, Elektra. I think we can see Bullseye toward the end of the season as being the big bad, maybe on the Kingpin's payroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. I think the really big thing is that Karen goes down. I think she goes down next season. Season 2.
I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah, I think she's dead.
Yeah. Shall I table for 3? Mark my words.
Sure.
Okay.
Mark them.
We will reserve a table. So where does this leave the team? Like, now so 2 of the team actually know who Matt is. And Foggy seems to be, they've had a big win. Everything seems to be Foggy's back. But Karen's not even in the know.
Right, and I think it's because they're setting it up for her downward spiral, and then to find out.
Right.
I think,
and then she finds out, and then she sells it to. Oh, who do you think she sells it to?
It could be anybody. I mean, it could be something like she's just out of control and she doesn't know what to do anymore. And I mean, I don't think she's going to sell it to Fisk directly because of what Fisk has done, but it could be anybody. I mean, it could be somebody. It could be anybody pretending to be a newspaper reporter that's, again, on his payroll.
Well, or if she's in that drug spiral, it is, that would be the ultimate letdown, the ultimate backstab is that she goes to Fisk and says, "I know who the Daredevil is. You fix me up, or you set me up with a fix, or forgiveness of sins or something." She lays it out, and of course there's the betrayal. I mean, who else do you betray to unless, it's like a thing between Daredevil and the Punisher? But that doesn't really seem like much of a huge betrayal.
No, it wouldn't be. Huh.
No, I'm putting down for Fisk. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting we're not talking about this episode. All we're doing is obsessing about the next season. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that it kind of shows how great this was. I mean, this was what I wanted. When we started this show, Jack, and we were speculating like, wow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm talking way back, like first episode of Nuff Said.
Right.
And we were talking about like, what, this could mean this and that. And I remember us talking like, or at least me, I was like obsessed with Daredevil going, wouldn't it be great? This was it, man. And this gave us that show. It gave us what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think they've really scored in a big way on not only on the series itself, but the way they've handled it. I think they're bringing in more fans. It's pretty huge. It was, like you say, it was just kind of a pipe dream. And, all of a sudden, we were speculating about Daredevil and something with Punisher and Elektra almost as like a pipe dream. And, I think it's, Daredevil's already there and Punisher's within striking distance.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even believe it. What are we going to get next? What should we hope for next? It's kind of like, opening Pandora's box. We just keep finding our little things, and eventually, no, let's go with the cornucopia, because cornucopia doesn't hurt you. Well, what would be the next thing? What can we go with?
Well, I know a big one for you, I think, is Luke Cage.
Yeah, but we already know we're getting that.
That's true. Well, do we know for sure?
Yeah, why wouldn't we get that?
Yeah, they've already cast a bunch of... Luke Cage is in Jessica Jones, and that's coming out in a couple months. And they've already cast a ton of people for the Luke Cage's solo series.
Yeah, that one's for sure. No, I'm thinking, I've been reading a lot of other books. I'll give you the two. These are the next two on my. Well, no, yeah, these are the next two on my horizon. And I think this could happen. I think this could happen because they haven't announced the Phase 2 shows yet. And we were thinking Daredevil would be part of Phase 2. Or, I mean, Punisher might be. But Punisher is getting included here. We may get a Punisher series, or this might be what we get for Punisher. Okay?
Okay.
I want to see a Moon Knight series. That's what I want to see.
Cool.
What
about you?
I want to see that, and then I want to see them do it right, the Ms. Marvel series.
But they're doing a movie.
They're not doing the kid.
So you want what's going on now?
Yes, I want to see that happening at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting call, because would they really do a spinoff? Yeah, I don't know.
I agree with you.
Yeah, the way that
I don't know if
they've
they'll go there right now.
Yeah, the way that they've.
I'm thinking that's not
treated...
Phase 2. That's like Phase 3. We get the Miss Marvel movie. We get that. By the time Phase 3 happens, we're talking 5 years, 6 years from now. You could do that. It's not it's another story that expands this universe in a really interesting way. And you know what that opens up for, Lil? Lil, I'm directing this at you. It opens them up to do a Miles Morales story.
Yeah. No,
right there.
But I think Sony's saving Miles for something else. I don't think they'll let him go for a.
They will if they make a whole big old buttload of money off of this Spider-Man deal.
Yeah, well, if they do, I'm sure. But there's already talks that the animated Spider-Man movie that they're working on is actually going to be Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker.
All right. I just hope it's not all campy. I want it to be the real. I want it to be right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think, yeah, I kind of want to see Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, yes.
I think Cloak and Dagger.
But you know what? That's where you do Moon Knight, you do Cloak and Dagger. That makes perfect sense, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jack? You down with that?
It sounds good to me. I'm just trying to think of, if I had a choice of two, I don't even know what they would be. Definitely the Cloak and Dagger would be fun.
I want a live action ambiguously gay duo.
From is that the Saturday Night Live guys?
SNL, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
Of course, you want that, Lil. You're like, now it's all uncomfortable and weird around here. Great.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's any other real. I mean, because you named some good ones.
Well, eventually we're going to get Namor. We're not going to get Namor in here.
No.
But eventually we're going to get Namor.
He's still owned by Universal.
Yeah.
Universal still has the full rights. So.
Yeah, and when we get that, it's going to be kind of irrelevant. But you know what? It's going to be that happening is going to be based on what happens with the Aquaman movie. If they pull off Aquaman and it works, that's when Universal's going to go, okay, let's make this thing.
Yeah.
Do you think Aquaman will work though? Because
I don't know.
That was like, it was almost back in the Justice League days. It was almost kind of, Aquaman was always kind of just a big joke.
Yeah, well, they're trying to change that, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe with global warming, he's a little more valuable.
My thoughts on the whole thing, Will and I have talked about this quite a bit at the Blue Box. I don't know. I can't tell if this is going to be any good or if it's just going to be like these movies are going to start coming out from DC and they're just going to be one disaster after another. I think they might get it right with Suicide Squad, but I don't know. I don't know if Batman Superman is going to be any good. They're sure hyping it like it's the greatest thing ever, and that makes me a little nervous too.
Well, we talked about that with Charlie and Jonathan, And we came to like a couple really good conclusions. Is that Superman really, and I made the parallel between Superman and Daredevil. Superman doesn't want to kill humans. He does whatever he can not to kill. So he almost placates Batman in this kind of contest because Batman knows that Superman won't finish the job.
All right.
But Batman will. And so, you have that kind of trickery against strength thing, but Superman won't kind of seal the deal. And, so it makes for an interesting movie.
Yeah, it's just whether it's an interesting movie in the end. I mean,
in the end,
it seems like they're throwing a lot of stuff in. And didn't we just live through this with Ultron? And, we didn't do our episode where we told what we thought of Ultron, but I'm going to say it right here since we've only got one person listening. I didn't think Ultron was that great.
And you fell asleep.
I fell asleep. And you want to hear the craziest thing? I saw that it's, coming to Netflix or coming to one HBO or something. And my gut reaction, my first reaction before I went like, oh, cool, I'll watch that was like, I was like completely ambivalent toward it. And that's really strange, man.
Not me. I'm going to be buying it on Blu-ray. I think what happened was the hype got too big for this movie, for Age of Ultron, and when it didn't live up to what people thought it was going to be, they disregarded it. I saw it twice in the theater, and
you liked it.
The second time I liked it more than I did the first time. The first time I did leave the theater going, what is going on, blah, 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 all this, a little bit of anger because I expected more. I expected Avengers plus. And because it was Avengers minus, everybody thought it wasn't good. But if this was the first time we saw this team on screen together, I think everybody would have loved it.
Would have been really happy with it.
Exactly. I think the hype and the expectations got away from it. And yeah, there's some flaws because they try to, just like we're talking about with Batman v Superman, they try to put way too much in here.
Yeah.
And then they started cutting things out, and then all of a sudden, when you cut things out, other things aren't making sense. But I don't think it's a bad movie.
All right.
Yeah, you didn't get really the sense of how powerful Ultron really was because, like I say, I think some of the things that they must have cut out. The fact that Ultron was in the entire like World Wide Web and had control of everything, we really didn't get a sense of all that. It really should have lasted maybe 2 movies, and they could have gone into a little more detail.
Yeah.
But I think, if you do back to Superman, if you do the straight math, Superman wins every time. It's all really
against
about
the Hulk. Did he win against the Hulk? I don't think so. Didn't the Hulk beat him?
I don't know.
I think it was a draw. I don't think anybody won.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen here, unless they're ready to kill off one of the characters. Whenever you one of the 30,000 characters now that are Omega level superheroes, there's just you can't kill you can't get rid of Hulk or beat him because his anger just grows. His strength grows with every with every hit, or anytime you really get him down, he just gets stronger. And and I think that's when you kind of run into problems with these, because I don't think there is any good resolution.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll make box office because everybody will have a lot of curiosity, but it'll be interesting.
So I want to get back to the episode. I want to ask a couple of questions. I want to ask Lil something because no offense, Jack, but I think that you're not going to quite have the history on Marvel that Lil does. And I might be wrong. You're going to prove me wrong here, but
actually, Lil has a whole room.
Yeah.
Marvel. So
Owlsley. Owlsley is the owl. Leland is. But something wasn't his son? Didn't his son become the owl? Was that in Ultimates? Do you remember this? Because he mentioned his son here, and this whole time I've been thinking, yeah, doesn't his son become the owl? But I don't know. Do you know about the owl?
I do. I mean, he was he? I think his character was even in cartoons at one point, as the owl, but not like this, of course. I'm trying to. I see. I read some of the Ultimate Universe. I didn't try to remember his son, because I remember there was a storyline with his son.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. And I thought that his son was became the owl, but I might be wrong.
But even if excuse me, well,
oh, man down.
I was like, holy cow. But even if you're wrong with that, I mean, that doesn't mean that they can't do that.
Right. I mean, I think anything's open now. I mean, it's just like the Kill Bill thing. They just laid that groundwork that the son is going to want revenge on Kingpin, and as long as he's getting it on Kingpin, he's going to be getting it on Daredevil.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of potential there. I was just very surprised they killed him. Although, they were using an older actor for that character. They're not going to have him, be the owl. The owl had some powers, and they're not going to do that with this guy. But they could with his son. Because originally wasn't Owlsley just kind of a gangster originally, like in the early Daredevil books?
Kinda, yeah. He worked for Kingpin. They worked together. Like he was the same thing. He was like the finance guy.
Yeah, and then eventually he got superpowers. Like he became an owl. He had talons and stuff.
He did something called. I think they had a mutant, HGH for mutants or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then he tried to establish when Kingpin got arrested. He tried to kind of take over.
Right. He tried to do a power play, and that's what I thought they were doing here. When he tried to poison him and everything, I thought, okay, they're laying all the groundwork for this. Maybe they'll even have him make his move, and then you've got the owl out there, and you've got Kingpin, and they would be at odds while at the same time both being criminal masterminds. I mean, there was a lot of potential, but there's no way Leland survived that.
Right.
Do you think? I mean, do you think?
I don't think he's. No, I don't think he's survived.
Although, if they do go that superhuman route.
And who knows what we know? I mean, what could happen? He could talk about his son, and it could be Leland Owlsley Jr.
Right. He'll still be Leland.
Exactly. I mean, they can totally do that and throw us off, and because we, people who know who the owl is, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't recall his son. I know there was something with his son, and I think you might be right. It might be in the Ultimate Universe. Because I can't remember anything in the 616. Because in the 616, all I remember is that he looked like Wolverine before Wolverine.
Right.
And he was just he fought Spider-Man a bunch of times. I think I have a couple of those issues with Spider-Man. I think there's something with Craven in him as well. I can't remember. He was just one of those villains that was, I don't know, I never cared for. I remember when I would see him, and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
But, it's just one of the poorer villains, and I still remember when they introduced him. I'm like, there's no way. They're just using the name.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they would bring the owl into the Daredevil.
No, I think they are.
Well, one of the interesting things I found was that Daredevil kind of encounters the help of Black Widow to kind of help defeat a plan. The owl trying to get the Daredevil.
Okay,
and so that's kind of interesting. And how the owl gets his powers is through a serum that he has to constantly take. So he's not that he's not really a mutant, or he's not especially like a big superpower, as much as the fact that almost like what's Cal, like he's got to take the angry drug every once in a while to kind of get his superpowers.
Yeah.
Isn't there something with him and Deathlock as well?
The owl?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I swear I remember something, like reading a story about him and Deathlock and...
Let's see, She-Devil.
Yeah, I just don't remember. I mean, he's one of those characters that I knew who it was immediately. He's been around for a long time. And he's a cool villain, but he's not one of those villains that like I know a lot about. I'm trying to think if man. Okay. You know what? I'm moving on. I was actually just looking in here. I found an article from back in April when this show hit, and they said that this woman on here made a real case for the owl being a big bad in the next season.
Huh.
And she makes a great point. She says, he mentions his son way too many times, even though, you don't really notice it until that last time. But she said throughout this season, he mentions the son. He says, I just want to retire and take my money and go with my son and live on this island. Like, he says stuff like that throughout it. And he says at one point, my son's coming to New York. So her point is this kid going to show up, or this guy? His dad is either dead or a vegetable from a kingpin, and that's when he does whatever he does to turn himself into the owl.
It makes a lot more sense than...
I got a question. I'm sorry, Jack, I cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
The guy that made his suit, did you catch there was they lingered on a shot of like something in his lab. I can't remember what it was, but it made me wonder, is that guy going to turn out to be somebody else?
Yeah, that's what's his name? He is a villain.
That guy
Melvin
is.
Potter, yeah. Because what they lingered on was like his own his designs for his own suit.
Yes.
I
just saw who it is. It's the Gladiator.
Gladiator, thank you. Yes.
Oh, you know what? That design. I'm like, I knew something was clicking there. I didn't hear his name though. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you think that's what happens when Daredevil doesn't keep his promise by keeping his sister safe?
Could be.
So he comes out as the Gladiator.
Could be, which would give him motivation to go after Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now they're friends. What else would there be? Something happens to his sister.
Friends. I mean, I think
no, I don't think they're friends.
Well, I don't think that's the point. The point is that he just made the suit for him. They're kind of buddy right now, and he's made a promise to keep his sister safe. What other motive would you have except for the fact that something happens to her and he comes out as the Gladiator?
Now, it's interesting here in the Wikipedia about him. It says that, he starts out as a supervillain, but he eventually becomes a huge supporter of Daredevil. And it says that he teams up with Daredevil and Elektra at one point to fight against the Hand.
Yeah,
so maybe
he throws like freaking what are those spinny little like
ninja stars?
Shuriken?
Not ninja stars. No, they're from tools. Like not a sawzall, a circular saw, like those.
Oh, like the little blades.
Yeah,
yes.
He throws those around.
That's
awesome.
Was it that we saw the drawing for that?
Yeah, that's what we saw.
He had that in his lab, I think.
Wow. So maybe maybe the only thing I'm worried about here is season 2 gets to be bloated, because this seems to be the trend with all of these things lately. Is, if we're going to have one superhero, we've got to have 10. I mean, look at Cap 3. I mean, Cap 3 has actually more heroes and villains in it than the Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Avengers should be the big blowout when you have the bulk of characters.
Right.
But it seems like everything has multiple characters.
Well, they got to keep bringing up the game. I mean, here's the thing.
But do they?
We're now not getting an Avengers movie until 2018. So from here on out, after Civil War, it is a bunch of solo flicks.
Do you think they're going to all be bloated, or do you think we're going to get?
No, I think we're going to get some. I think we might get others involved, but I think what happens in Civil War is you're gonna see that fracture throughout the MCU until they have to come together for Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because just like here with
So you think it's just going to be a lot of fracturing? We may get some cameos by characters.
Right, we're gonna get people showing up here. I mean, there's already rumor of Tony in Spider-Man. You might get somebody in Doctor Strange. T'Challa is already going to be established here, so who knows what his story is going to be for his solo Black Panther film. You're going to get Guardians again, but Guardians will be in their own thing. Thor will probably be in his own thing, but he's going to have more as Guardians and stuff involved in that. My guess is because it is Ragnarok. I think you're gonna get a big fracture here, and you're gonna have a reason why people aren't gonna show up, and you're gonna have a reason why others will show up in other movies.
Sure. Yeah, I think Ragnarok is going to be pretty much standalone. It's going to be Thor. You're going to get Loki, and you're going to have that story going on. I think Spider-Man. I'm hoping Spider-Man is more of a real standalone.
I can see again. They said cameo. Tony will cameo in it.
A cameo is fine. It's when they just keep loading them on. Look at that friggin' Batman, Superman. I mean, it's like, good Lord. And it doesn't seem like they're doing cameos. It's like Wonder Woman has a full-blown part in it, but it's not called Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman,
Well, I think the problem with them is that universe isn't established. The MCU is. Yeah. So, we're just continuing off at 12. At this point, this will be episode 13 of that series. So we're already gung-ho, ready to jump in and keep it going.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is getting bloated.
I just hope that that's not what happens. Now, Daredevil, I mean, they do have 13 episodes to play with. If Punisher is in 7 of the episodes, that's a lot.
I don't think
there's a lot of rumors of it being Punisher, Daredevil. And you know what? Okay, 7 would be a lot, but they could do that. But these other characters, like if they have Kingpin, if Kingpin is in the background, that's fine with me. We have a Kingpin reference. We see him a couple of times, but he's not your villain. Maybe Owlsley is your villain, or at least he's your villain for a chunk of it. I mean, how many different things we had? The Russians here, we had the Chinese guys, and ultimately it all came down to Kingpin being the big bad.
And we still don't know what that little Chinese boy or Japanese boy was all about. Whatever the dark cloud or whatever.
I forgot about that.
There's a lot of stuff that can come back.
But do you think they're going to come back to that, or was that just something that Stick is dealing with? And there's the other one. We've got Stick and Stone still out there.
Yeah.
But I bet Stick and Stone show up in Iron Fist. I bet that's what that was.
They also Leland also alluded to the fact that now that the Chinese are gone, they're going to have to replace the heroin trade.
Right.
And that's what are they going to do with that?
Right.
Tombstone.
Oh.
I love Tombstone as a
That would be awesome. Hey, you know what? And I keep thinking about it. I think you're right. I know you said, I heard you on League of Geeks say that he's not, but they very well could be going that way with Ward.
Oh, as
Taskmaster.
Yep. Yeah, I want it to be. If I had to put money on it, I'm going to say no. But
you know what? I was reading what did I read this week? I read.
Let's call him up. We're friends.
Well, I read Daredevil or Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and Taskmaster was in that.
Yeah, I did. I read that recently too.
And I'm reading it, and I'm like, it kind of. I was getting a Ward vibe when I was reading it. That's what made me think. I'm like, I got to say it to a Lil. I think he might be right. They could go that route. Because where else are they going to use Taskmaster? This is a good character they can use, and I can't see them using them in one of the big movies.
No, and wouldn't that be great? All of a sudden, you end season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and here comes Ward, turns around with a skull mask and a hood on.
That's all it's got to be. That's all it's got to be. Is he's got to put, he puts a protective mask over his face, and it's the skull mask.
Because he gets burnt up or something. Who knows?
Yes. Well, they won't do that. He's a pretty boy.
Well, I mean, they've already, established that they can, bring back faces if they want.
Sure.
And they've established that mask because Taskmaster is a person of disguises because he always,
Right. And they did it with that girl. I mean, who I'm surprised they didn't go the Madam Mask with that, but, it does make sense, man. It does make sense.
Yeah.
And it's a character that would be a good one to bring into this universe, but I don't see how it possibly gets put into any of the films. So,
yeah, I'm with you. I hope, but again, like I said, if I had to put money on it, I wouldn't.
All right, Jack, you want to mark his words?
I'll mark his words.
You want to put some money on it, Jack?
No,
okay.
I'll just mark them.
All right, good.
I'm not reserving a table for 3, but I'll mark his words.
What's going on with this Hulk thing? Why are they doing all this? Do you think they're going to do a big Hulk movie at some point that they're trying to lay all the groundwork for? They got so many things going for the next 5 years.
No, I think it's just well, we just talked about how bloated Civil War is. Do you want to add the Hulk to it?
No, but
they're
saying
I think they were smart of it.
I think they are too, but they're saying there is a reason.
Well, yeah, but the reason can be so much. I mean, it can be a reason that maybe he pops up in one of these other movies.
They don't want to say where he is. They don't want to say where he is. And James Gunn came out and said he is absolutely not in Guardians 2.
Yeah, which is good.
So where is he? Do you think he's going to end up in Wakanda or something?
No. I don't know.
I think they just blasted him off into space and he landed in Wakanda. Could be.
Are you talking about the water park in Wisconsin?
Yes.
Oh, that's Wakanda.
Wakanda is where he's at.
He ends up in Baraboo.
Off the Kickapoo River.
You ever see the real early Hulk one when he tried to get away from everything and he joined the circus? It's a Jack Kirby story. And he was like a clown. You guys ever see that one?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you got to look it up. It's an early. I think it's one of the first Avengers books actually, where he tries to escape this nightmare life he has, and he just joins a circus where he can be anonymous, and he dresses like a clown, and then he becomes a star there because he juggles elephants and trains. It's fantastic.
I'm looking at photos of it right now.
You see the clown
juggling an elephant and a horse, and Ant-Man's in it. And,
it's so great.
What is going on? All right.
Come on, you love it, man.
Of course I do.
Maybe they're doing that. Maybe it's going to go completely nuts now, and we're going to get the Hulk movie where he just goes and joins a circus.
And then Charlie will be right.
Yeah, it's all done.
Even though he's wrong, he would be right.
He is completely
wrong. The circle
wrong.
will be complete.
He is completely wrong.
No, I went on a big tirade our last episode of League Geeks about it and how it's going to help. And we talked about it at the Blue Box. I think.
Yeah, we did. I do too. You and I are on the same page, surprisingly.
Yeah. This is a stepping stone for Marvel that
usually you're wrong and I'm right, and this time I think we're both on the same side of right.
Okay, then I guess I'm always wrong. So maybe I'm wrong and you're wrong this time.
No. How dare you? I'm offended.
Didn't see that coming, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you just
Check
thought
it
I
a
would take
mile away. Oh my gosh! All right, did we talk this out enough? I think I'm done with the.
You did.
Yeah, I think I'm done with it. Jack, are you done?
Thank you to our one last listener.
Yes, you rock, man.
Yay!
Contact us on our email, southgatemediagroup@gmail.com, and we will absolutely have you on, and we'll berate you for being the one guy that paid for this. No, we'll love you up. Jack will send you pictures of him dressed like Agent Carter.
No.
He's got lots of them.
Yeah, gross.
I keep getting them at midnight every night.
We got enough of that with Caitlyn Jenner. Thank you.
Oh, jeez. Oh, too soon. No, we know it's never too soon for me. I'm usually tweeting it as things are happening.
That is true.
You are quite the tweeter.
Yes. You know what?
All right.
Time plus comedy can only go bad if you don't get it out there immediately. That's what I'm going to say. So, all right. Are we done?
We're done.
Oh, good. I'm tired. All right. Thank you so much for listening, our one fan. And we will be back with regular Nuff Said very soon. When does that start up? Do you know?
20-something, 24th.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get another episode in before that, or if we'll just do our thing, and just start when that one kicks in. But you're the first to hear it, man. We're going to change the format a little bit. It'll probably be more like what we just did here, where we talk about the show loosely, we talk about news, and we just, talk. So, Eric, thank you so much for staying with us through the whole thing, and I think that's it. Alil, you want to give your, I'm sure he's heard it. He's a fan. Want to give where they can reach you?
They can reach me on Twitter at LOGEEKZ, and that stands for the League of Geeks podcast, and that's Geeks with a Z. Check us out on our website, podcast, Sports Geeks Podcast, which is a spinoff of League of Geeks, and hopefully much more.
Yeah. And Jack, where can they reach you?
Can't be reached.
All right. Perfect.
You could go to my, hopefully it'll be up soon, but my new website is jackwindrosky.com, and there is a link to the Trumpet blog and all such info there.
Excellent. And you've got your shows coming back. You've got Blacklist coming back. Is Bosch coming back for a second season? Are you doing that one again?
Yes.
Did you ever finish the first season?
No, we still got
you're the
2
worst.
episodes, but they're done though.
All right. Good enough. And then we've got this. And who knows? Hopefully, Martha and I have been talking about, kicking back into Input Junkie, because basically most of my shows are winding down, which is kind of interesting. I am on this and the Live at the Blue Box stuff, and then we have our 2 family podcasts, Ever After, and which is Once Upon a Time, and Cuckoo for Who, which is only 13 episodes, and then that's done. So we will have a little time. I'm thinking maybe a little Input Junkie will come back. We'll see.
Nice.
Follow me on Twitter at rsouthgate, and follow the company at SMG Pods, and check out our new design at our website, which is southgatemediagroup.com. So far, we've only done a couple of pages, but if you go there and you look at the homepage, you can get an idea where we're going with things. Hopefully by the end of the week, I'm planning on having Nuff Said and some of the other shows, the popular shows, done. So, Eric, by the time you hear this, you should be able to see the new stuff. Look, we got very specific. We can talk to our one fan. All right,
AF Shield comes back on the 29th.
All right. So maybe we'll get one in there before then. Otherwise, we'll talk to you around the 29th, 30th, somewhere in there. Thanks a lot. And Alil, Jack, thank you so much. It's been fun doing this for the one time we're doing it this way.
Yes, it has. All
right. That's it. Yeah. Enough said.
Enough said, Eric.
Ooh, specific. I like it.
That was good.